Every man has a story, and that story soon becomes history, or his story. And it all begins with our statements in style. But in order to tell your story in style, you need to look at your clothing much like the elements of a story. So by the end of this video, you're not only going to see how style says something about you, you also discover how it helps you tell your own personal story. What's up, all you stylish storytellers? You know who it is, the cat in the hat, resident fly guy, your chief architect, Michael Andrew of StyleArchitects.com, and welcome to A Dressing Room. Now, here on this channel, I invite you to step inside of yourself. I want you to try on some concepts when it comes to style and your own personal development to see how they fit you. And if they fit you well, then you will step out telling your story without having to ever have said a word. Now, if that sounds like something that you're interested in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can be notified each and every time new content comes out, which will be once a week. Now, I've not only helped hundreds of guys start to tell their story and really understand what their clothing is expressing to the world, unbeknownst to them sometimes, but I also have formulated a four-piece structure that you can utilize in developing your own style. And that's essentially just making sure that you have the acts of your story together. Now, you have to remember that every man is going to have different acts that he's going to step into, different roles that he's going to play. As Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage, and all of us are merely players or characters in that story. We each have our entrances and our exits. But I want to make sure that when you make your entrance, you are stepping on the stage of style and of life as the hero, as the protagonist. And we're going to focus on those four elements that we're going to pay attention to today. All right, so when we are thinking about the acts of a show, right, you have one element, which is going to be the A, the authorship, the C, which is going to be the characterization, the T, which is going to ultimately be the thesis, and then S, which is going to be the story. So just remember author, characterize, thesis, story, the acts. And each one of these elements are going to be important because they will build on each other in helping you tell the story. All right, so I don't care who you are or what you've done. We've all told a story in our life. Now, for most of us, we'll hear something like this. So what happened was, and that's how we know it's about to be good. I was chilling on the stoop, or I was chilling over here, and something happened, and it got my attention, and all of this craziness happened, if it's a good story, and this was the conclusion, right? So there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. We've all had to author a story. Now, if we're being honest with ourselves, in some of those stories, we may have embellished, we may have added a little sauce to the story or to the expression to make it even more captivating, and nobody's going to fault us for that. Well, in that same space, you have to think about how you're going to author your own personal expression. Any author will tell you that they've taken the time to outline, to draft, and then to go through several revisions of what their story is going to look through, and then edit that down in order to make sure it's as clear and concise as possible. When we're listening to those stories, if the dude takes 20 minutes to tell you that somebody robbed a liquor store, then through all those details and unnecessary left turns that he's taking, he starts to lose his audience whether he realizes it or not. Much like in style, when a guy is doing too much, he's trying to do all of these different types of things, it actually starts to take away from his style and creates disjointed elements that people can focus on. These are oftentimes when you'll hear somebody say, wow, that's a really nice shirt, or those are really nice bracelets, or those are really nice rings, but they have not said that's a really nice ensemble or that's a really nice outfit, because everything has been disjointed. He hasn't taken the time to author what he is really seeking to express. Now, when he does, he'll find that he's not wearing as many clothes, but he's making a much deeper impact with the story that he is beginning to tell. So the next thing that we have to pay attention to when it comes to the acts is the characters, right? So anytime that you're writing a story, you want to start thinking about the characters and the character developments. There's questionnaires that authors will often use to create the nuanced elements of how they are thinking about life, how they're pursuing life, their aspirations, their goals, and how they're going to move in those situations. And you can actually do the same thing for yourself. Having a better understanding of your own personality and your own traits are going to be beneficial in helping you begin to characterize what your closet closet is going to look like and how you show up in a given situations. For instance, if you are a much more introverted guy, it's going to be very hard for you to be able to sit back and observe if you are coming in a loud jacket or a loud shirt. Now, this may still be something that you are interested in, but you can scale down the pattern or the look of the shirt, or you can scale down and make the color of the jacket that you're interested in to a much deeper color so that it is much more understated in a social type of situation. Now, this is another reason why I'm so big on custom clothing, is because you have the ability to really hone in on the type of character that you're seeking to express. In these different types of situations, a person who does not understand what his character's role is supposed to be, he may step into a space in a loud piece and then be confused when all these people are starting to try to converse with him when he just wanted to chill and be in the cut. Versus a different dude with the same type of mindset stepping into a space in a much deeper, moodier element that allows him to kind of fade into the background and will only be appreciated by the people who really have an understanding of what he was seeking to express. It's almost like an unwritten code word or password that will allow them access to him. Sounds kind of mysterious and interesting. All right, so there's one slight deviation that we're going to make when it comes to the C as well, and that is going to be the chapter. Now, still going to fall into the characterization and the character that you are creating for yourself, but you also want to think about the chapter that you are in your life. For some people, it may be a coming of age chapter where you have just graduated from college, or you're finishing up grad school and you're now stepping into the world independently. It may be for some other people the chapter of love, where you've been a player, you know what I'm saying, out in these streets and you're ready to find somebody to do life with. Or for some other people, it may be the chapter of children for them, where you have two young toddlers that you are interacting with. In each one of these spaces, the integrity of who you are, the true persona and personality traits of who you are will not deviate. However, how you're going to need to interact and to move in these different types of situations is. And so while the style of who you are, the style of what it is that you're wearing should show up in abundance overall, you still may have to make some slight deviations, i.e. changing those dress slacks for some chinos that you can easily wash when your toddler is running up to you with sticky fingers, right? You'll be able to navigate that much more seamlessly than having to kill that one that you love because they messed up your cashmere trousers, right? So just consider that also when you are developing your character and style. All right, so if you're picking up what I'm putting down, I want you to put 100 in the comments below, and I want you to tell me, what chapter are you in your life? I am in the chapter of love. I've recently found somebody that I want to do life with, and I'm excited for how that is going. And it's been a very interesting dynamic to see how we complement each other in life as well as in style. I'd love to hear from you as well. All right, so we're halfway through your acts when it comes to telling your story in style. And we have begun to outline, we drafted what it is that we want to say. We have begun to characterize how we're going to move. But we need to make sure that we are always focalizing on our central theme or our central point. And this is where we create our theme or thesis. Now, I say thesis because I love the thought process of when we used to have to write papers, having to put what it is that we were going to be talking about through the rest of our dialogue when we were writing. And if you think about the theme or the overarching lesson that you want somebody to learn in the story, it's still kind of the same thing. But the reason why I love a thesis is because, especially when guys are first starting to develop their style, they don't have that one central point that they can focus on. They're usually trying to follow everything that they've seen in magazines or from YouTubers or Instagram influencers, and they don't really know how to actually hone in and distill that one look that's going to be the foundation for what they can build on. And that's really all a thesis is. It's that one statement that says, this is who I am, this is what I'm about. For me, it has been always sensual whimsy or sensual charm, right? I'm not trying to be the loudest or the most flamboyant in the room. I'm not trying to even be the most fashionable in the room. I'm simply trying to create a element that makes people smile, that makes people think, and then also that creates a feeling or a emotion, some energy that will elevate the room, that will keep people moving, keep people talking, keep people interacting with one another. And so when you start to think about those things, then you start to hone in on what is going to be beneficial for your closet, for your character, and that will still allow you to appreciate what other people are doing while not having to subscribe or buy into it. And that can be a very dangerous thing for your closet and for your consciousness. All right, so once you have begin to author, you begin to characterize, and you have your theme or your thesis, well, now you essentially have your story. And while it may seem like that's super easy, it's not, but it is that simple, because your story is just going to be encapsulated by the scenarios and scenes that you find you're in. Now, there's going to be a slight deviation for both of these. The scenarios that you're going to be in are often the situations that you may find yourself in, whether that's one of conflict, whether that's one of exploration, whether that is one of seduction and or love, or whether that is one of communication. So these are where great storytellers find a way to create a shift. These are where they create the aha moment in a mystery moment or a thriller type of situation. This is where you have the punchline of a comedy. All of these elements are created by the situation. So let's say a guy in a three-piece suit walks into a dive biker bar, right? Immediately, we're going to think that this is going to be a situation, because his character is not in alignment with the proper scene that we would think that he would be in. Now, if we're telling a story, that would be a great one for us to explore further, because it doesn't fit. But in real life, you want to make sure that your scenes are going to match your scenarios. So for instance, the person who is looking for love is not going to want to offset that by being in a strip club, right? He's probably not going to find the type of love that he's looking for. He's not going to find the type of balance that he's looking for. But he could step into a beautiful club on a special night and potentially find love there. And the thing that I love most about our stories is how they all come together. There is a look of love that almost manifests itself when you are telling a great story. There is a look of reward and heroism when you're telling a great story, and there's often a look of accomplishment when you're telling a great story. So my question to you is, why wouldn't you want to tell yours? Why wouldn't you want to step out as the best version of yourself, so that you can create these memorable moments where people will experience you in their own mind, in their own imagination, and may even embellish your expression far beyond what you ever could have, and it won't even be a deceptive or disappointing element, because it was something that they did. And above all, you will be being true to your story, to your personal expression, and you will be authoring what it is that you want to say to the world. And what could be better than that? So I want you to try this on and see how it fits you, and step out of the dressing room now, beginning to act with the acts to tell your story in style. And let me know how you are authoring, characterizing, theming, as well as storytelling your own style. Would love to hear those. You can hit me up on Instagram at Style Architects, and we will continue our conversation. And if you're having some difficulty figuring out some of these concepts and thinking through some of these concepts, and you need some help, well, then you need to give yourself an SOS, and we potentially should be working together. So make sure that you click the link in the bio below and sign up to get your free S.O.S guide, your Style of Self guide, and you have the opportunity to work with me so that we can help you create and step into your dressing room. So I look forward to hearing from you. And above all, don't ever forget that dress is nothing more than the expression of a man's state of mind. So you, yes, you should always dress to address so you can express. I'll see you next time. Peace.